What up, gamers? Today we're going to be looking at the changes to reload perks that Bungie has implemented in the latest 2.9.0 update that opened up Season 11, Season of Arrivals. This is something that was brought up back in the May 21st TWAB that discussed a few changes coming to Season 11 to help push around the reload meta for our weapons. In the TWAB, they discussed the Outlaw, Feeding Frenzy, Rapid Hit, and Drop Mag were changing for this season. And they definitely have changed, as we'll see here soon when I get into the data. They also gave reference to Field Prep and Alloy Mag, but Bungie stated that these didn't change for Season of Arrivals. From just the patch notes alone though, we can see that the popular Outlaw reload perk did have its multiplier tweaked a bit. Feeding Frenzy will no longer max out with just one kill, now the perk will have 5 stages to it, so in order to reach its full potential, you'll need to kill in multiples of 5. Rapid Hit is still somewhat the same, but has been nerfed a bit with a reduction in the reload multiplier, and its stability benefit has been halved. And as stated before, Bungie wrote in the patch notes that Field Prep and Alloy Mag are unchanged, but I still tested these two just to be sure. So to see exactly how these reload perks work for Season 11, I tested specific weapons with the reload perks I just mentioned within Season 10, and retested these same weapons for this season to see their differences. And before I get into the numbers and the changes from season to season, know that these percentages are specific to the weapon's archetype and frame. Just like with the range stats that I discussed in my Fellwinter's live video when I compared ranges of different shotguns with different frames. Also, if you watch my video on the fastest reload perks in Destiny 2, you'll have a better understanding of how this compares across archetypes and frames for each weapon, since I tested over 20 different weapons in that video. So if you want to check that out, you can find it in the card above or in the description box down below. But back to the changes to these reload perks we previously discussed. For the tests, I ran the infamous Recluse submachine gun with its Feeding Frenzy perk, 3 different beloved sniper rifles with Field Prep, Drop Mag, and Alloy Magazine, 2 separate spare ration hand cannons, one with Rapid Hit and the other with Alloy Mag, the old-fashioned hand cannon with Feeding Frenzy, 3 Kindle Orchid hand cannons with Feeding Frenzy, Alloy Mag, and Drop Mag, a Nightwatch Scout with Outlaw, the Patron of the Lost Causes Scout from Season of the Dawn with Rapid Hit, and last but definitely not least, the Outlast Pulse Rifle with Feeding Frenzy. So as we bring in the table for Season 10, we can see that I present you with the base reload speed for each weapon and how many seconds it takes to reload from shot to shot, and the percentage reduction from each stage of the perk if it indeed has multiple stages like Rapid Hit and now Feeding Frenzy for Season 11. But for Feeding Frenzy, you can see why it was such a popular choice with any weapon, given that it would provide you with a 40% or more reduction in your weapon's reload time after one kill. When I showcase Season 11, you can see that after one kill, you no longer have that huge benefit as you did before. The max reduction for this perk will still be the same on your weapon, but you will now have to get 5 kills in 1 mag to reach that potential. So much harder to get your max benefit out of this reload perk, but Bungie did make it to where you get a dramatic reduction still after 2 kills. As you can see, the weapons tested here have about a 30% reduction in their reload speed after those 2 kills. Also, the Outlast Pulse Rifle stats are a great example of what Bungie mentioned about there being a max threshold for each weapon, but you will still see a minor benefit even when reaching that level. For the Outlaw reload perk, Bungie talked about making a minor change to this perk, but trust me, it's still good. Outlaw is procced when getting a precision headshot kill. So for Season 10, my Nightwatch was showcasing a 36% reduction in its reload speed when Outlaw was active. For Season 11, you can see the slight adjustment made to this perk, but for my Nightwatch, it only brought up the reload reduction by 3%. So not at all a huge change to the Outlaw perk. Still a very viable perk for any of your sniper rifles, sidearms, or scout rifles of choice, as this is where you often find this reload perk available. The Rapid Hit reload perk going into Season 11 though definitely took a hit compared to the previous reload perks discussed. Rapid Hit for the most part had some huge increases after even just 1 precision hit for Season 10, as you can see in the data table. Usually around stage 2 to 3 there was a lull in reduction where the percentage reductions were very similar to each other before reaching their max potential on the 5th hit, showcasing anywhere from a 30 to 40% reduction in their reload speeds. For Season 11 though, we can see about a 10% increase in Rapid Hit's max potential compared to Season 10. The lull also seems to be hitting between stages 3 and 4 now, and they also reduced the stage 1 reduction drastically. Through these tests, you can also see that the spare rations was nerfed quite a bit from its previous potential in Season 10. This could be because of its high prominence within Crucible in this sandbox, and Bungie is kind of balancing things out and reeling in this weapon a bit. So it could be that my spare rations is reaching its threshold already after stage 3, which is why there's no difference into stage 4 and 5 like we saw in Season 10. For the Kindled Orchid and Patron of Lost Causes, you continue to see that reduction all the way through the stages, but again, still a nerf to what this perk used to showcase back in Season 10. Moving on to drop mag, I'm just going to show you all the values for both seasons. This was honestly a weird one, and this is by far my most dreaded magazine for any weapon, as the benefit of this perk never outweighs the cost you take up with ammo loss. If you're not familiar with drop mag, you basically gain a reduction in reload speed as long as your mag is not empty. But the con is whatever rounds were in the mag are lost completely, so in other words, it's like how a real life magazine works if you don't completely use up all the ammo. So the most efficient way to use this mag would be once you have one bullet left in the magazine, you then reload to gain the max reload speed. This way you only lose one bullet out of your reserves. Still, as I stated, cost of losing ammo doesn't outweigh the reward of a faster reload time that you can acquire at a greater reduction from other magazine perks within the game. But you can see that they did slightly nerf its potential from previous season, except for the Kindle Orchid. This is because the base reload speed for this weapon changed from last season, or at least it did on mine. I'm not sure why, but instead of a base of 2.3 seconds on my Kindle Orchid, it changed to 2.5 seconds for season 11. Still though, with the perk active, it was the same 2-second reload time displayed from season 10. Funny one, that one. Not sure what caused this, as my other Kindle Orchid hand cannons never changed on their base reload speed like this one did. Anyway, moving on to the last bit, you can see that the Alloy magazine and field prep perks are unchanged as Bungie stated. But funny thing about the Beloved though is that the Alloy mag offers no benefit to the Beloved whatsoever. I'll have to do some more testing and see if this is for all sniper rifles, but for the Beloved it offers no benefit according to my tests. But there you have it, gamers. Even with these changes that Bungie implemented for season 11, Outlaw, Feeding Frenzy, and Rapid Hit are still highly viable options for reload perks on any weapon for both PvE and PvP. It's more or less going to vary depending on the weapon and which perks are available to it as it was before. This just tunes these perks to make others possibly more viable for any given weapon. Also, another somewhat reload perk mentioned in the patch notes was Pulse Monitor, and I've got to say this does make the perk more viable now, especially in a PvP setting. So now instead of only providing you with 35% of your mag back from reserves when reaching critical health or basically losing your shield, your entire magazine is now filled. And this works even when the weapon with this perk is stowed as well. So it could be useful in some critical situations, but still a very situational perk to utilize. And that's it for today, gamers. Lots of things to look into as we progress further into season 11, but if you enjoyed the content and found it helpful, drop this video a like and tap fire subscribe for more on Destiny 2. I'll see y'all out in the gaming world, but until next time, this is Sir Mab, signing off.